vivid, if you can believe that. So let me do this. I'm going to boost this up. Now, notice the whole image is doing this. If you go to this little guy right here, it will just work with a layer. If you have it ticked the other way, clicked or whatever, it will do the whole image. But as you can see, my foreground can go from black and white to crazy vivid. Let me just go somewhere like right in here, okay? All right. There's that. And you know, you could see that I wasn't real exact when I drew that line. In fact, the less exact you are, the better. Okay, so foreground's a little more vivid, and I usually combine that hitting Command E, and then wrong one. Okay, Command J, and now we have a new layer. So we're back to a whole layer here, and let's see what else we want to do. Okay, to add some depth to the sky, we can go into the dodge and burn tool, and let me just dodge a few areas here. Make sure that your exposure is not turned up too high. What I did to get this is I'm right clicking. Alright, just putting a little light on some of these areas. I'm going to make the sky a little more dramatic. And I'm already breaking one of my own rules, and that's I'm working too small. So there you go. If you work too small and you don't change the size of your brush often enough, you're just going to goof it up. Okay. Cool. Now, there's a couple things about this image I don't like. One is that it's not cropped enough. It's just too much negative space. So I'm going to keep this cloud, and I'm going to take a little bit off the foreground here. So I'm going to cut that, and there's our new crop. All right. Let me go back. My ADD got a hold of me. I got the burn tool here, and I'm going to just kind of darken the exposure in some of these areas. Command Z will always undo, so never forget Command Z. It will save you. See, that's turned up too high. So I'm about 7%. Okay. This one's almost done. Let me show you something here. So this file is huge. Right now it's 256 megabytes. That's too big to do anything with. So I'm going to go to my layers. I'm going to flatten the image. And don't worry about that. It will discard those layers, but you can always get them back. Command Z. And then I'm going to hit Command J and get 2 more layers. Now watch this. I'm going to use what's called a high pass filter, but first I'm changing the blending to hard light, and you get an effect much like this, and that's pretty cool. But I'm setting it up for the high pass filter. It's one of the most misunderstood filters in Photoshop, I think. Man, that sounded nerdy. Okay, there's the high pass filter, and what it does is it desaturates, but it also sharpens the image. So if I slide this slider way up to here, you can get a pretty surreal look. Not one I'm fond of, but I usually go around, I don't know, maybe 3.2 or 4 and hit OK. And then I combine this with that bottom layer, and I lost a little of my saturation, so I'm going to just saturate the whole image a little bit more, maybe, plus 20, plus 16, and then Command E closes that back in. Now, look at this image, and let's scroll in on an area. Well, not that much. Okay, let's scroll in on an area right here, and this is with high pass filter. That's without. So you can see how fuzzy that is. So with, without, with, without, and that will work with a great deal of images. It doesn't apply to everything, but it's kind of cool. Okay, so there's our high pass, and our boats kind of snap alive. Now, Let me close this out here and do a couple other things, and then we're almost done. I'm going to change my background back to gray, and I like to give some of my pictures what I call like a movie tone look, and that's the black bars, the top and bottom. It's moves away from the photography format and puts it more in the cinema format of like whatever the aspect is. Was it 19:6? So go to image, canvas size, and on the height I'm going to guess here 2 inches. Looks pretty good. It made it in white, so let me just go to here and grab some black and drop it in. There's the bucket tool, black and black. Yeah, somewhat effective. You know, it's still a little too square for me, but let's just leave it the way it is now for tutorial purposes. Okay, one last thing. Third-party plugins. Photoshop's a great program. It's a very expensive program, and it has plenty of filters. However, there are a lot of really talented people out there making filters for Photoshop, and you have to buy them, of course. I mean, there are some free ones, but I would encourage you to get ones like the Tiffin DFX filters or the On-One filter suites. All very cool. So let's go to this filter group. And this is the Tiffin DFX filters, and I don't know why it keeps telling me to enjoy my trial because I purchased it. But anyway, okay. I'm going to go to Vignette and choose this vignette, and I like to make it a little bit harder. And this is, I don't know, it just kind of takes the hard edge off of the photograph, and it's just something I like, so you don't have to do this, that's for darn sure. Okay, there we go, a little bit right there, and I'm going to save. And I won't even go into how this clunky the Tiffin interface is, but it could be better, but it's got a lot of really cool filters. So here we are. Here's our final image, and let's see how close we got to the picture that we did earlier. Well, I did earlier. You weren't here. So I'm going to Apple S, which is save it, and I'm going to close this out, and then let me go into iPhoto and import into library the boat tiff, and there she blows. And alrighty, yes, there's some goofy pictures of me. Okay, combine these, and I don't know which one's the one we did before and which one we did after. Okay, full screen. Oh, this is the one we did earlier. So now we're pretty close. You know, this one has a little more of a defined edge. This one's a little more of a square format. I actually like this crop a little bit better, which is the one I did before I did the tutorial. But anyway, you can see where we ended up. So if you were to take this image and send it to MPix or Bay Photo and have it mounted on canvas, and then you have them paint like a semi-gloss coat over that, especially with the gallery wrap where the edges of the canvas go around the stretcher bars, it can look pretty cool. I've done a couple of these and they're hanging in the office, and when you get done they kind of look like paintings. So anyway, hope you learned something. I'll try to do a more complicated one next time, and I'll do some portraiture too or whatever. Alright, take care. See you later.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good,
It
though.
could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!